In this video, I'm going to rank every single ice and water item in Fortnite history from worst to best. These are all items that in one way or another are associated with ice, and since ice is made of water, water items and weapons will be on this list. And yes, I am ranking every single icy item in the middle of summer, so hopefully this video will cool you guys down a bit. I'm going to give a quick honorable mention here to the Frostfire shotgun, which does give you the blizzard effect half the time when you shoot somebody. I mean, it applies it to the enemy, of course, but it's so unnoticeable and it would just feel so cheap to add this item on this list today, so I'm going to leave it off. But if you wanted to make this list yourself, I could see technically why you wanted to put it on this list. If you do go on to enjoy this video, consider leaving this video a like, use code TYFRYZ in the Fortnite item shop as always, and if there's anything on this list that you think I missed, let me know in the comment section down below. That being said, let's get right into this ranking. At number 15, the worst ice and or water item in Fortnite history, it is the Chiller Trap. There is not much to say here. This thing is absolutely atrocious. A trap that does 0 damage, it just gives icy feet. That's it. I cannot believe this item even existed. It should never, ever come back to the game. This is in contention for the worst item that Fortnite has ever seen. And this list is made up of some pretty bad items, and the Chiller Trap is one of them. At number 14 is another item I totally forgot existed. It is the Frozen Ice Cream Cone. Yeah, it just gives you 5 health and then turns your feet into the ice blocks. That icy feet effect you will see literally with almost every single item on this list today. I also should mention, if you hear anything in the background, there is a giant tree that is being chopped down right next to my house as soon as I press record. So I'm praying the mic doesn't pick it up, but if it does, yeah, you guys know what that is. At number 13 is the Snowy Flopper. And the problem with the Snowy Flopper is, yes, you do get the white heals, which is really, really valuable, and a good amount of them too. It's like most of the time when I'm healing, I don't want the icy feet effect. You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm in the middle of a fight, or I'm in a big build fight, and I gotta box out real quick and hit a flopper, well, I don't want the snowy feet effect, so I'm not gonna use this flopper. At that point, I'm just gonna use a regular flopper, and that's the problem with the snowy one, is just it has a better base alternative, so why would you ever use this one? Number 12 is going to be the Chiller Grenade, and yeah, this might be the highest the Chiller Grenade ever ranks on any of my videos. It's literally just a mobile chiller trap. If you want to think about it that way, you can throw it like a grenade. Does the exact same thing as the chiller trap, just gives the opponent icy feet, does no damage. This is, again, like virtually useless unless you're in a big build fight and you're at the top of high ground or something. You're able to throw it down on somebody and just send them off a cliff. At the end of the day, how many times is that happening? I've never gotten a kill using the chiller grenade, and probably like 90% of the people watching this video will have the same sentiment. At number 11 is the Big Chill, and wow, would you look at this? The Big Chill is almost in last place on every single video that it's on, and in this list, it's actually 5 away from the bottom, or 4 away. You know, you guys get the point. The Big Chill is literally just the chiller grenade, but with more ammo if you think about it, right? I mean, you're literally just shooting chiller grenades. That's exactly what the Big Chill is. And again, while it's not much better than the chiller grenade, at least it uses rocket ammo, so you can have multiple over and over again. The chiller grenade, you know, you're not gonna be able to hold that many of them. But at the end of the day, right, you guys can see I'm really reaching for something good to say about these items at the bottom of the list here. I promise it gets more entertaining as we go along further in this video. And one of those entertaining items at number 10 is the Sneaky Snowman and the Sneaky Snowmando, right? It was in Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. They just got a different reskin, but they're the exact same thing. And at first glance, you might be saying, how is this item so high up on this list, right? I mean, it's literally just a snowman you hide inside of, but it's similar to the bush in the fact that it actually has some decent utility, right? You can withstand a shot from somebody when you have this on. Similarly, of course, to the bush. That is actually really useful. It basically gives you one free get out of jail free card. And I remember there were things that people were doing back in the day where this could actually save you from fall damage as well. That is, of course, very good. And you can see, right, you're starting to see the utility here as compared to the other items that I've mentioned so far on this list. While it's not anything crazy in an item that I'm like begging to come back, it does have some pretty cool uses to it. And while on the surface it seems like it's useless, it's actually not. And number 9 is going to be the Water Sprite. Now, the Water Sprite has kind of fallen down the totem pole of like best sprites since Chapter 6 Season 3 was added. It's essentially just a mini shield keg if you want to think about it that way. You know, almost at the halfway point in this list. It's not crazy. Like, I'm not taking this over really any other healing item in the game. Any shield healing item in the game, I should say. It's totally decent, right? Like, it's not crazy. It takes a long time to heal somebody, but you, of course, get multiple different uses. If you use all 3 of the uses to its full potential, it can be a good shield healing item. It just takes way too long for me. And number 8 is going to be the Snowball Launcher, but put down the pitchforks. This is the impact version of the Snowball Launcher, okay? So I'm separating the Snowball Launcher into its impact version and the bouncy grenade version. The one that shoots impact grenades, the one that is at this spot, is actually really, really bad. If you remember in chapter 5, it got a change from being able to shoot 6 rockets to 4 before you have to reload. It only does 150 structure damage. That's just enough to one-shot a wood wall. That's it. It is barely doing 50 damage. This item is absolutely pitiful, and the bouncy grenade version is significantly better in my opinion. At number 7 is another item that I guarantee you a bunch of you guys forgot ever existed from the Chapter 6 Winterfest event. That is the Blizzard Grenade. It's actually a pretty cool grenade, right? You throw it down, it opens up this like huge dome, and anybody inside of it, yes, will take more damage over time, but it also slows them down. So it's basically like an anti-box up weapon, right? If somebody boxes up and you throw this, they are forced to move or they will die or take a significant amount of damage. In that sense, it kind of acts like a stink grenade, right? And I think stink grenades are decent, especially in a competitive setting. I think a lot of people would have used the Blizzard Grenade, but in public lobbies, right, when people have literally, it seems like infinite mobility, is this item really going to be that useful? I don't really think so, but it has its uses, right? It literally forces somebody to move from where they are. They cannot stand where they are, and even in zero build, right, if someone's behind a wall, throw the Blizzard Grenade, they've got to move, right? And even though it's a forgettable item, I hope we see it come back again for the next Winterfest event. At number 6 is Sub-Zero's Combat Kit. You want to talk about an item that I know so many of you guys would not have expected to be on this list originally when you first heard of this idea, but yeah, it makes sense, right? He has all the ice when you use that little mobility attack. I mean, his name is literally Sub-Zero. This is by far the highest you will ever see me rank Sub-Zero's combat kits ever on a list, because I do not like these. I think they're one of the worst melee weapons of all time, but I can't deny, would I rather have Sub-Zero's combat kit or like the Blizzard Grenade or the Water Sprite or the Big Chill? Yeah, obviously I'm going to take the combat kit. It just feels like it kills way too slow for a melee weapon, and I would almost take every other melee weapon in Fortnite history over this thing. The mobility is almost non-existent. I know it sounds like I'm talking pretty bad about an item that's at the number 6 spot today, guys, but like I said, this list is honestly filled with a lot of really bad items. Those icy items don't have the best reputation. At number 4 is the Icy Grappler and Ice Spice's Grappler. Yeah, they do the exact same thing, so they're going to be put together on this list. And I should mention, Ice Spice's rifle will not be on this list. Contrary to the name Ice Spice, it has nothing to actually do with ice in the game. In fact, it actually gives you quite the opposite with the hot pepper effect. That rifle won't be on this list, but these grapplers are really, really good mobility items, and that's it, right? They're not good for fighting somebody, but they are really, really good at traversing the map really, really quickly, right? And they are infinite mobility if you want to think about it that way. It's just, for me, I like my mobility items like shockwave grenades, where, yeah, I can use them to traverse the map, or I can also use them in the middle of a fight. With these two items, you can't necessarily do that. It's almost impossible to fight somebody with icy feet on you, but I see why people would want to use these grapplers, and I see why people do like them a lot, and honestly think pretty highly of them. But I actually think it's beaten out by Chapter 6 Season 1's Icy Feet item. Now, the Icy Feet is literally the Icy Grappler, right? I mean, it is what it says it is. It literally just gives you Icy Feet. But for this item, you can actually determine when you want to take off the ice blocks on your feet. That means that, yeah, while you can use it like an Icy Grappler, right, to get from point A to point B really fast, it's really easy to gain momentum with this item. You can also take it off if you see somebody in the middle of a fight. That is insanely good. This is an item that I feel like I've never heard anybody else talk about. I mean, it is pretty forgettable in that Chapter 6 Season 1 Winterfest event. And honestly, yeah, I think it's an upgrade over the Icy Grappler, but of course, please let me know in the comment section down below what you think of this selection. All right, folks, we are inside the top 2, and at my number 2 spot is Todoroki's Ice Wall. So yeah, you can see here, this is when the list really becomes like the top 2 really, really good items that are not just good on this list, but will be good on most lists they're on. In build mode, Todoroki's Ice Wall doesn't really get that much utility. In fact, I think you could go as far as to say it's kind of useless. I mean, yeah, you can try and, get into somebody's box using it, but the real utility and where this becomes a top tier item in Fortnite history is in zero build. You can obviously see why it's so good in zero build. You place an entire giant wall for not only cover, but also gives you an insane head glitch when you're on that thing. So obviously it makes it kind of difficult to rank, right? Because in zero build, it's absolutely insane. And then in build mode, it's as close to, I would say, useless as you can get for an item in that mode. But since it is just such a good zero build item, I think it deserves to be this high up on the list. And you zero build players, I think, will probably agree with me on this one. But it is not better than water bending, which is going to be the number 1 item on my list today, guys. It really wasn't even close. Water bending is one of the best mythic items we have ever seen. They nerfed it a bunch, then they buffed it a bunch, and they tried to nerf it again to no avail. You cannot take down waterbending. This item is so good. Infinite ammo too. Like if this weapon were to come back today, it would 100% have durability on it. Also, I should mention you could heal while you were in the water with this item. It is just such an incredibly good water item, right? When I thought about this list, right, every ice and water item, what did I know was immediately going to be at the #1 spot? It was going to be water bending, just unbelievable damage. It's like a burst assault rifle, but with infinite ammo and basically infinite accuracy, if you want to think about it that way. It was honestly not even close. It wasn't even a question. Water bending was always going to be at the #1 spot in today's list, guys. Alright folks, I hope you went on to enjoy this video. If you did, please consider leaving it a like and subscribing to the channel. We are almost at 100,000 subscribers, and I promise you, you're going to want to see what I have planned for that 100,000 subscriber special. I know it seems like kind of a random time in the middle of summer, at least where I live, to do an every ice and water item video, but I've already done every flame and heat item. Go check that video out if you haven't, by the way. But yeah, thought this was a good idea. Let me know in the comment section down below if there is anything you believe I forgot. It's entirely possible. The Fortnite wiki doesn't give me one spot with every icy feed item, you know what I'm saying? And also, let me know what you thought about this video. With that all being said, folks, I'll catch you guys in the next one. As always, peace.